All right.
Thank you.
So we're gonna start off far, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna give each one treats while keeping them on their own separate platform,
Okay.
right? 'Cause I want to see how much of a pull they'll be to kind of get off and into the other one's space or to get to the other treat.
Okay.
I guess, yeah. I guess
I
you're
got
gonna.
more.
Okay, here I'll hold these guys for you.
Let me get the little one, little treats.
No problem. You can use the big ones too later on,
Okay.
but yeah. So start off with, go ahead and give Enzo a treat there, or Fig, sorry. Go ahead and give Fig a treat there, and I want to see what Enzo does. Good boy, good stay. Good, so he's doing good. I'm not holding him back, he's just kind of controlling himself. I'm just getting ready to in case he starts to go. Yes, good boy, stay. Good. And now what I would do in this case is I would reward that behavior because he's staying over here, he's redirecting back to me instead of going to steal from his brother, right? So I'll go ahead and let you now do the same thing here, and we'll see what Fig does. Good boy, Fig. So he's trying to move stay. Boy. Good. Good. Now go ahead and get out a higher value treat for Boo.
Well, see, I had 2 of these, and that darn dog across the street took, because this is what they were fighting over.
Okay.
And I only have 1 now.
That's okay. We'll just use the one for now, and we'll take turns on it. So we'll do Fig first, and we'll see what Enzo does. So you can see that they're at least focused on the treat, but if it's not that dog's turn, they should be focused on you. It's going to be the first thing, right? So, boy, yes, up here. Enzo. Yes. Thank you. Good. That's going to be your first key, right? Is whoever is controlling the resource, the dog should be paying attention to the handler as opposed to the resource, right?
Uh-huh.
Stay. So, yes, good boy. Okay. And that's going to help because if he's just fixated on getting the item and he's not focused on you, then chances are he's going to try to go and get the item.
Right.
But if he's redirecting back onto you, yes, good boy, right? You have a lot more control over the item without even having to control the item, right? Good boy, there you go. That's a good boy. You should stay. Good. All right, go ahead and switch, and we'll see how interested Fig is in trying to get the item back. Good boy, stay.
It's okay. See, that's how when he thinks that somebody's going to grab it, then he gets very protective of it.
Right, and so your goal is going to be to protect it and him and his space for him, so he doesn't feel like he needs to. And that's where, like, being the moderator comes into play. And if you do that consistently enough, like if he's not doing it now, but if Fig started moving in this way, you would get in between and be like, no, that's Enzo's turn, right? They come to respect that, and instead of having a conflict between one another for an item, they learn that that conflict is actually going to be between you and them, right? And usually that's what helps to control a situation. Because generally they'll respect the handler more than peers, especially when.
Well, he's more of the aggressor than Fig is. Fig is, because he'll start shaking. He's like, no, I'll just leave it alone. I won't even let try to get it. Instead of getting into an attack, he'll just walk away. But Enzo's the one that attacks.
So that's the time when, like, if it's just going to depend on the situation. So if Fig wanted something and Enzo wasn't playing with it, then you would have to give it to Fig and then make sure that Enzo stays away, because you can see now that he's interested, right? Fig. Yes, good boy. Good. All right, so go ahead and pick up the treat now. And we're gonna move the beds closer together.
Okay.
Come here. There you go. Okay, so now there's gonna be a little bit less room between, right? They can kind of easily crawl in between. So you keep Enzo over there. I'm afraid to get over here. And now we're gonna have the item kind of in between the two of them. Good. So he kind of turns away. So you kind of see there, he's looking between the treat and Enzo. He's not looking at me. He's not looking at you. So right here, right, yeah, we'll keep him on the side there. And now will be his turn. Now you have to make him wait, right? So he's looking between the treat, and you want him to redirect back to you. You're like, no, that's Fig's turn. So you can kind of see how fixated he is. There you go, good. So then that's when you give him the praise when he redirects back to you.
Oh, okay, good
So
boy.
he's learning to give up because it's in Fig's control. It's Fig's turn for something.
Uh-huh.
So he shouldn't worry about it, right? He shouldn't
Okay.
be fixating on it because this is clearly Fig's turn. Now, when it's Enzo's turn, you have to do the same with Fig. Good boy. Right? So he's just focused on the item Fig. Yes, good boy. Right? You kind of see when they kind of look at each other, that's when the problem's gonna arise.
And then you can see the upper lip going up.
That's why, you know, when you're practicing at first, you're gonna need to pay close attention and supervise when you're having higher valued treats out. So same thing here, right? No. Fig. Fig. Yes, good boy. Good. Right? Because not only is he not focusing on us, and then he's also not focusing on the treat, now he's focusing on his brother, right? And that's the last thing that we want. Let's see if just an ultrasonic will disrupt it too. So go ahead and put it close to in between the two of them. Yeah, right there. And we'll see who goes for it first, and we're gonna ask them just to both leave it. Good, very good.
Oops.
So now they're more interested in this than the treats. That's why. Good. Yes, good boy. Very good. And we'll see whoever wants anything or claims something first, right? It'll be up to us to determine that and then keep the other one away. So if you want, you can get some other treats or something too. Oh, there we go.
Stay.
So now they're both reinterested again. Good, right? So only one pup should be interested in the same thing at a time. And so because they were both interested, disrupting that behavior, and now go ahead and split the cookie in half. Put one half closer to Enzo and one half onto Fig's. Yeah, there you go. And let them both enjoy. And then if they lock eyes again, even though they both have their own, right? And that's when you redirect them. Good, there you go. Right, so they have to learn to respect one another's space when they're enjoying something. This is a very clear and easy way to do it. The thing I've done before is like hula hoops, just putting two of those on the floor, because it gives you like an actual barrier that you can kind of move around and see.
Oh, okay.
While you're working on it, and eventually you can do the same thing without any physical barriers, but it just gives you like a visual aid of like personal space. And it's just the same thing that's happening here. Like they have a little bit of gap between the platforms, but eventually we want them both on the same platform, right? Sharing things and getting closer and closer. And that's gonna be harder depending on the not only like the value of the treat, but also whoever has had the treat first and kind of claimed it for an extended period of time, and then whoever comes into that space after another dog has claimed it, that's when you're going to have to intervene and be like, no, that's already his, right? Or, hey, wait, he's interested, he wants some too, so making the other one that's already had it give it up to you, and then you can share it with Fig or Enzo, right? So really controlling the resources even when you're there and when you're not there. But this exercise will help make them so they understand that if there's something of high value on the ground and you're around, hopefully eventually when you're not around too, but especially at first when you're around, they need to redirect back to you or you're going to disrupt the behavior, right?
And that's why I buy two of everything, so they don't get to that point. But Enzo doesn't want him to have neither one.
Right. So that's when you just have to intervene and be like, no, Enzo, this is Fig's. And you have to guard it for Fig. So that way Fig doesn't feel the need to guard it and then attack Enzo for taking his stuff.
Well, he cowers. He starts shaking and he'll just leave the room. And it's like, it's not worth the fight.
Right.
And I'll just leave it alone.
And that's good, but it's almost at the same time like passive aggressive because he's losing stuff. And we've had situations before where, another dog might not have been possessive of anything, but over time, because his brother keeps stealing his treats, keeps stealing his stuff, he feels like he's getting shorted all the time, and then eventually he gets tired of it.
And I feel sorry for him because he has to cower, and it's like you shouldn't have to do that after being together almost 2 years.
Right, and that's where just like I said, you just need to step in to help them with that because it's just maybe just one part of their relationship where they just might not be ready to kind of handle that situation themselves yet, and they just need your guidance a little bit at first. Right, so they're both doing really good now.
And do you think it's because they're in their own environment and they're not, like in one space?
That's why, like I said, the hula hoops or having some sort of personal space when you're getting to enjoy something really helps. Like most of the time with my pups, because I always have dogs over and things, the only time they get to eat or they get to enjoy like a special treat or something is in a crate, right? That's their personal space. Another dog can't go in and take it, so they have all the time that they need and they don't have to worry about anything, and I don't have to worry about it unless I'm purposefully trying to work on it with them or the other dog, right? In which case it's another very clear boundary. If the dog's trying to go into the crate, no, that's his space for his thing right now. So
Come on, I'm right here.
It's all about teaching them to respect one another's boundaries. Because it's just it just makes it more fair if you learn to control the resources until they do, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm not having this treat right now, so let's let Enzo have it. And now when Enzo has it, good job, right? Now, when Enzo has it, this one needs to learn to stay away and respect it. That's all. And just a simple interrupt like the ultrasonic or a whistle or usually playing loud pots together, all those things work a lot easier than trying to de-escalate a fight because a lot of it is preemptive. They're still in that like unsure, that's mine or your stage. They're still posturing.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to catch, is because you want to stop the behavior before it even escalates into a conflict. Because once they start wondering, hey, is that mine or is that yours, you should already be there to let them know, right? Because it's like, oh, Enzo had it first, so Fig, you have to wait.
Right.
So you kind of take away that uncertainty that each one of them have, not only for the item and for like who controls it, but like, are we going to get into a fight? No, you're not going to get into a fight because that's not yours, that's his, right? You help to really prevent things by controlling everything as much as possible at first, and then you kind of just let it push. Like what I'll usually do is I'll have one dog on the platform enjoying a treat, and I'll just walk the other dog around, and I'll give the dog a treat for ignoring him when he's enjoying his thing. Right, so he learns that if he just follows me and if he leaves his brother alone, he actually gets something too.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, sometimes when well, the lip will start going up and the growling, and I don't know, it's like all his strength just comes out in 1 second.
Right.
And I try to, I'll go behind him and try to pull, and he just takes off and just starts attacking.
Right.
And then, and I'll be screaming, and, Brittany will come down, and she'll, pull Fig away, and then he starts bleeding, and it's like, I couldn't believe it over a bug the other night.
Right, you have to, like I said, it's going to come up out of nowhere until these guys learn that, neither of them are going to win when they're trying to both fight over something. And that's where the practices come into play. So that way, hopefully, when you're not there and there is, an item out that one dog is interested in, the other dog now has enough practice in and discipline in to know that they need to leave that dog alone. That's the hardest part. Like the exercises are all pretty easy, but doing it consistently enough and then controlling your resources enough, you can't control them finding something that they're both interested in, but getting it to that point that once they do have that conflict, they already know how to behave. It can be a process, but
it is. It's very, it's exhausting at times, and sorrow, because I feel so sorry for Fig, the way he has to, cower away and not even eat his breakfast, even though they don't normally go after each other at breakfast time. But I think in his head he thinks, oh, Enzo's going to attack me over my breakfast.
So you just have to do some extra work with him, so that way he feels comfortable and that he's not going to lose something. Usually when dogs get defensive is also when they get offensive, right? That's just how it is when, they have, unlike us, they have limited diplomacy options, right? It's like grr to let the other dog know to back up, or like move away, right? And then they have to give up whatever they were interested in, or fight for whatever they're interested in. It's usually those three options. There's a couple other variations and stuff in between, but those are pretty much your dog's three options, and none of them are usually very good, right? The walking away one is one that most people prefer because, like I said, it's more passive, it avoids the conflict, but at the same time, it doesn't make the dog feel very good.
No, and it doesn't make me feel very good, because I'll pick his food up and I'll say, okay, I'll just give it to you in a little bit.
Right.
And then the second time I'll put it down, then he'll come to eat.
There you go. But the bad part about that too is that it also encourages negative behaviors from the other dog, because if the other dog wants something and they know that they can just move into that space to take it, then that also encourages him when he wants something to move into Fig's space to take it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it negatively reinforces that behavior on the other dog's part. So that's why, like I said, a lot of it is going to be like you recognizing what's going on and controlling the behaviors, at least until they can get it, and you'll be
Yeah.
able to see it, because you can see here when they redirect back to us or they leave it alone, they respect their siblings, you know, got something. Even if they want it, they have to respect you and them and their space, and that's going to be the ticket to success for that one. Something that'll also help is like those collars that have like one remote with two triggers, where with like two dogs that you can switch from. So that way, if like you're working with Fig and Fig is on one and Enzo's on two, and you know Fig's walking by with you, and then he starts to want to go after it, you make sure that the device is on one for Fig, and then you can beep or vibrate it, you know, to get his attention away.
Okay.
Right? You know, I don't recommend strong correction right now,
Yeah.
because a lot of times people do that incorrectly, but just using it to help redirect their attention or to break that fixation, kind of like what we did here. If they both go after something before it escalates, is going to be your best time to do it.
So that what you have, so they don't have to wear a collar for that?
Yeah, this is just an ultrasonic device. What it does is it emits a tone that only they can hear, and it kind of just startles them. It's good because it affects both, but it's bad because it affects both.
Okay.
Right? Whereas the collar and like a vibrate, right, or something like that, you can individualize it.
Okay.
So that's, you know, two good options for you.
Right.
Usually what animal shelters will do, or daycare centers will have like the citronella spray, and that can be used to kind of help disrupt too, and it's harmless for pets. You know, if you even accidentally get it on them, they sell that at PetSmart or Amazon. I'll send you a link. And then lastly, of course, is like the dog case. But, you know, seems like if you catch it early enough, you won't need that. But if they're mid-fight, instead of pulling them away, you might be better off incapacitating both of them by spraying it in between them, and that will be enough of a deterrent to kind of get them away from one another.
Yeah, because you know, it really scares me, especially when I'm at work, because I don't know, you know, what they're capable of doing to each other.
Right.
And you know, and I'm like, God, and I'm only at work for 4 hours, but it's like, what are they doing? You know, are they attacking each other? Are they getting along? Or because they have access. You know, I have their dog door and everything, but it was just getting out of control, and I have to call you.
Right. No, sometimes it's because they have too much freedom and not enough supervising that those problems can end up happening, because instead they kind of take it among themselves to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
Usually, most of the time that should be okay, you know, with siblings. Sometimes for certain situations they just need help on what they should and shouldn't do, just like with any kind of
I
puppy
know, it was
learning
either
things.
crate them or put a muzzle on Enzo.
Right.
You know?
And
And I really didn't, you know, because they're not used to crates. You know? I mean, they were when they were first born, but
I use play pets too, so that might be a better option, because they can have their own separate space. if
Right,
necessary.
right.
But yeah, the main thing is trying, especially for my clients, to avoid them having to intervene in a conflict, because that's a lot of times when people themselves get bit, because the dogs are like in that red zone.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just turn around and snap at
And
whoever.
he has.
right?
He's like, you know, he'll turn around and I'll say no, and he'll like come after. I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute, you know, you're not coming after me.
Yeah, it's very dangerous when they're in the heat of the moment there, and then also, and you know, it's not something I blame people for, because it's a very natural instinct for people, but unfortunately, you end up like seeing instances where you turn like a puncture into like a tear, right, or a bigger wound, or cause more trauma and stress in a situation, as opposed to de-escalating it, or getting them okay with one another,
Yeah.
right?
And I
Like,
need to be educated.
it's
That's it. I just need to be educated.
not
And
common knowledge, unfortunately.
yeah.
So that's fine. All right. Watch out behind you.
Oh,
All right. So, do you have any questions on this first exercise before
no.
we move
And
on to?
really, whatever, how many you think they need, you just, you. I got to focus on what you think is best for them.
Right. Well, I try to make things as easy for the clients
Yeah.
to do as possible, or the handlers. Like, it's my job to teach you, so that way you feel confident in the ability to handle the situations and not always need me, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll usually do is we'll wait like a week, give you the time to practice, see what you need help with more, or maybe emphasis on, or
Okay.
if it's still too overwhelming for you, then we can try other things. But that
Okay.
way it'll give you some time to actually go through the exercises yourself, because I know a lot of people get busy during the week and things like that. It'll at least, that amount of time will at least give you a few opportunities, hopefully sometime within that week, to kind of work on it and practice it with your dogs, and then let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
What you felt good about doing, what worked best for you, what didn't work well,
Right,
things
right.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay active with them, because I am gone for the 4 hours, and as soon as I come home, I'll put them in the car and I'll take them to Old Mill Park.
Right.
And let them run and, do their thing. And
All right, so for the next part here,
like I said, he'll walk a couple of steps and then he'll just lay.
okay, go ahead and put Enzo away, and I'll meet you out here, and we'll see what he's doing.
Oh, come on. I gotta put the door, on the dog door.
No problem. All right. So what we're gonna do is just gonna go for a little walk here, and we'll see what causes his hesitation on continuing on. Good boy. Come on. Good job. I take it he's already not used to having something on him, right?
No.
And that's just something that you can get him used to over time, even in the home. So go ahead and walk around. I'll have him walk with you. And we'll see.
You want me to walk him, or you gonna walk him?
I'll walk around. But I want him to kind of follow you, so that way we can kind of see where you guys usually go and when you start having problems.
I should walk the whole way.
Good boy. All right, so he sees the other dog over there. Good boy. Come. Hi, big guy. I know. You want to come with? Hold on one sec. We'll see how he does solo first. Okay. And what I'm looking for is like kind of that moment when he starts to hesitate or gets unsure or just stops.
This is the most he's ever walked.
Oh, he's doing good.
From the Goliath.
It happens sometimes. You just gotta be careful we don't have a sidewalk in this neighborhood. He's doing good so far. See this better than he usually does, I take it?
He's never done this far.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and I have walked both of them, and like I said, he'll just
Boy.
drop to the ground, and that's it.
What we might want to do when we go back then is take Enzo out to see if that's causing the issue then.
Okay.
Because you usually try to walk them both at the same. Yeah.
I mean, and it just got, where I couldn't carry him, and I got him in a carriage, in a little stroller, just to take walks.
So it might just be like one of those things where you have to do them one at a time until they get used to walking with you, and then trying to introduce two again.
I didn't know whether it was the collar. I tried the harnesses. I went back to the collar. And, something, an easy pull. I went to that.
Good boy. Good boy. All right, so after this car passes, we'll just turn around.
Okay.
And I want to see how he reacts to leash pressure. Because sometimes it's the act of being pulled around by a leash, if they're not used to it, that they find discomfortable. So now I start pulling, right, and he starts duckling down, right? So it's that tension, right? So to get him to build a good positive association with the tension, I want him to know, like, when I pull it, Enzo, or Fig, come, right? It's that tension that's got it. Yes, good boy. Good. I want him to know that as soon as that tension is released because he's paying attention to where I'm going and what I'm pulling towards, then he's going to get a reward, right? The same thing here again. We're going to try to this time encourage him without the leash pressure to see if that helps. Enzo, or Fig, come. Good boy, right? So it might just be the fact that he's feeling pressure from the leash and he's unsure of what to do with it. So he has to learn what that leash pressure means as opposed to being afraid of it. It'd be like the same as if suddenly we've got something that we don't know is like restricting us from continuing one way or pulling us another weird way, right, out of nowhere. Now, if it pulled us towards like a chest containing $1 million, we're gonna happily like learn to feel it and follow it, right? Whereas if we have no idea what it's pulling us towards, most people's instincts is to be scared, to kind of fight the resistance. And this is the same thing here. It's happening. He's just not sure of it. Yeah, he's doing good. And then you can tell he's not too used to having something on him, so this is bugging him a little bit. So once again, I'm gonna get a treat ready. And I'm gonna elicit a little bit of leash pressure, right, on purpose here.
Okay.
Yes, good boy. And then I release it as soon as he recognizes that pressure and redirects his focus back to me. Okay? Because your goal, especially with him, or with most pups really, is good boy, this way. Is to control him with focus as opposed to controlling him with the leash. It's just even worse for him because he's almost scared of the leash pressure. So that's why, like, the more that you try to tug him along, the more he's gonna resist.
Right. See, when I take them, well, he's always in the stroller. But when Enzo, when
Good
he,
boy.
wants to smell or sniff, I just let him. But my sister's always yanking her dog, like, don't smell, don't. And it's like they're dogs. That's what they're, that's their nature.
Well, some people have more or less time to walk their dogs than others. So for your sister, what I would recommend if she's that short on time, just not.
She's not. She's retired.
Oh. I was gonna say to just not go out as far,
Yeah,
right?
she's 74. That's all she's got is her dog. But she's constantly pulling that poor thing, and I'm like, what are you doing?
And you see, he kind of just follows you anyways, right? So you really don't need that much leash pressure at all.
Is it better
You
to
did
get
good.
a retractable one than that kind, or does it matter?
It matters because usually I use retractable leashes for like recall exercises or if we're like a wide open space. I wouldn't recommend it in this kind of environment because, you don't really have like a very
Sidewalk.
wide, yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
a sidewalk, you don't have a very wide road, dogs can be coming and going, cars
Uh-huh.
can be coming and going. Because when you use a retractable, unless you're in like, I don't know, like a wide open space or a park or something, no, that's going to be fine. But in an environment like this, you have to be careful and know when the car is coming so you know how to lock it, know how to
Yes.
reel it back without touching the rope, because a lot of people get rope burn. Making sure it doesn't get wound up around the mailbox or
Yeah.
the trees. So
Yeah.
they're good freedom leashes for dogs in the right situation, but they're not freedom leashes for us because whenever I'm using it, you pretty much have to pay more attention to what you're doing and what's going on to prevent injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested, I could always kind of give you a lesson on those sometime and how to use
Okay.
them.
Alrighty.
Because if you want to go to Odino Park with them and let them run around the beach and things like that, then those are always a good option.
You want me to get Enzo?
Yeah, go ahead and get Enzo, and we'll see what the walking dynamic between both of them will be like. Hi, hi. Oh my goodness! Oh, he's coming to get you. He's coming to get you. Oh my goodness! Oh yeah. Oh, other side.
No wonder so. There you go, boy. Okay.
All right. And now I'm gonna actually let you walk them both to see what it looks like.
Oh, okay. All right. Come on.
So here's the first part, right? Because he already doesn't want to walk. Instead of pulling him, try to encourage him. Maybe bring like a little treat bag with you and things like that.
Okay. That's what I'll get.
See if he likes this. It's just beef liver.
No, not you.
So that'll be another problem too, right?
Come on.
Okay, so let him finish, and then once he's done, oh, oh, there you go. There it goes. Oh, all right.
All right. Come on.
Go ahead and try to get down low and really encourage him to come to
Come
you.
on, buddy. Come on.
There you go. Good.
Come on, Fig.
Good. There you go.
Come on.
And he might be apprehensive of Enzo as well, so I'll take Enzo a little bit away. Okay.
Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on.
There you go. Good.
It's okay. You're a good boy. Come on.
Here's a couple more for you.
Come on.
Enzo. Enzo. Come here, Enzo. Enzo. Hey, come here. Good boy. There you go. Good. So yeah, starting off slow and each time making him come to you and then he gets another one. There you go. Good.
So it doesn't matter how many treats they get. It's okay to give them that many. Just a
I wouldn't ruin their diet on it.
Okay.
And it depends on the treats. Usually higher value treats you space out more, whereas like the little like
I got
treat
tons
dots,
of little bones and all that. I got 2 jars of treats.
yeah. You just want to space it out as much as possible because once he
Now, do
starts.
you have to give them a treat every time that they come to you, or try to?
At first to help recondition him not being sure, but then eventually what I do is I hold my hand as if I have a treat, but I don't, and then I have him come to me, right? Good boy. And then when he does, yes, good job. I'll give him a pet, and then maybe the second time when he comes to me, I'll give him a treat. So I'll kind of wean off that way. So that way he always gets the same motion, but then maybe after the second time he comes to you or the third time, then he gets a treat. And that's how you can wean off treats. But especially in the beginning, if he's stuck, worry more about getting him unstuck first. There you go, perfect. Good. Good. There you go. Now just kind of let him casually walk around. And then if he gets stuck again, go ahead and encourage him to get himself unstuck and follow you, and then reward him for that. There you go. And now we're on a roll. Good boy. So you may even have to just slow down more for him or move him towards the grass so that way he gets things interested with his nose, right? And he starts moving that way.
Like this.
Yeah. Because he was doing that too beforehand. He was just starting to smell the environment. There you go. And just trying to keep up with mom. So there you go. Good.
I was thinking about getting a leash with the two holders.
Sometimes those are good, sometimes they're not. It just depends on the dogs.
Okay.
Usually they're better for dogs that walk already well together because it's going to limit their mobility. And so what's going to happen is, especially if Enzo is okay and he keeps going and he goes too fast and he starts pulling on Fig, that's going to cause Fig to freeze up even more.
Okay.
So at least from what I, yeah, what I think right now, right? Good.
Come on.
Perfect. Good. And sometimes too, it's just maybe you dropping back and waiting for him or letting him take the lead a little bit because he just seems to be unsure. There you go. So now when he starts kind of walking where he finds something that's interesting, yeah, now he's just ready to go. So now you just kind of follow him for a little bit. So here I kind of did the same thing with Enzo. He's moving in and into Fig's space when he's trying to smell something. Usually that's going to be fine, but it's going to be good practice to like redirect him, right? Give him, let him smell that area first and then let Enzo smell it.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, taking turns.
Okay.
Instead of both of us needing to investigate at the same time or being interested in something at the same time. Just like with the treats, you know, taking turns on things. Because that smell isn't going anywhere. Here, and then whenever you're ready, you can call Enzo.
Fig.
Or Fig. I don't know if I'm ever going to get that straight.
Come on. Come on, Fig.
Good. And now I'll take Enzo over here.
Good boy.
So now Enzo can smell. Good. Good boy.
Come on.
Yeah, that might be scary too, though, for him. Good.
Good boy.
There you go. So at first, just to make it easy for you and to get him used to just walking around and being comfortable out here on the leash, I'd probably just do him one at a time.
Okay.
And then as he gets better and, you know, you have your treat pouch, you can kind of give them both one.
Yeah.
And that'll be a good treat sharing exercise too, because like you have to have either, you know, one in each hand and then giving it to them at the same time, or having them sit and wait one turn, right?
Okay.
So another good way that you can practice.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have nothing.
There you go. He's doing good. Good boy.
Come on, buddy. Come on. It's okay. Come on.
So it might just be because he's unsure of Enzo, right? So all I'll do is I'll put Enzo behind. There you go. Good. Good. Right. Good boy. Come on. Let's go.
Come on.
Come on. Good boy. There you go. You just need some encouragement. Good boy.
Good boy.
Wait, you try walking both on the way back in.
Okay.
That way.
Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy.
So I don't know if he's just following me now.
Because he knows you got the snack pouch.
And sometimes that really helps, especially when it comes to training, because they see something and they make that association or that connection with it. It's like, well, if I listen to them, I can get a reward. You know, eventually you want the reward to just be praise and pets, but sometimes, especially if they're working through something that they're afraid of, actually having a tangible reward helps. Because he's just uncertain, right? And now he's like, just good to go because he's not focused on whatever it was that was making him apprehensive. He's focused on the treats and something positive.
So if if I go back to trying to walk him and he lays, what would that then make sure I had the snack pouch and encourage him that way to get up?
And then if you need to, eventually what you would want to do is like teaching him that leash pressure, right? So applying a small amount of pressure, but then as soon as he complies and gets up, releasing that pressure and then reeling him in the rest of the way for a reward.
Okay.
So that way he starts to learn that, he's going to feel that until he complies, right?
Okay.
Hi. We'll do one pup at a time with him to see if it was really Enzo, or sometimes, like I said, the two of them, either escalating one another or like their uncertainty causes one another to react. So we'll do one at a time first,
Okay.
and then we'll do both again to see what's going on there.
Okay. So
Unless it's Enzo, of course, which should really help. Good job. There you go. What do you think, Fig? Good boy. Right. So you can tell by Fig here, he's just a little unsure, right? He's just kind of feeling it out. He's very cautious. There you go. Good. Good. And so that's something to note too, is when he is cautious or unsure of something, to make sure that the other dog doesn't press the issue too much and startle him or frighten him into a reaction, right? So if he's already unsure and then Enzo starts doing something, right, he'll probably join in as well, because he's almost getting like a justification or, a go cue, right? Whereas if you're like just keeping him nice and calm and comforting him and showing him that it's okay, right? There's nothing to be afraid of, then he moves in and starts to kind of check out the other pup. There you go. Good. There you go. Right? So now he's going from unsure to like a little bit more playful, a little bit more relaxed. Good job, Fig.
Fig is my playful one. More playful one.
Right? Right? So when he started to kind of posture is when this one got upset and unsure too, right? Causing that reaction. And so just like with the resource guarding for space, bones, we create that space for them so that way they can de-escalate, right? Calm down. And then try back again. Good boy. It's okay. Yeah. I know, it's okay. Right? So that's where you can see, especially with like your resource guarding, how something like just being unsure of something can escalate, right?
It's okay.
Right?
It's okay.
Oh. Oh, there you go. So now he's getting to learn his mannerisms and stuff. And even though he's on the back foot, he's still not escalating, right? Good boy. Right? So he's gonna learn that when he pops up on him and he starts growling, it's gonna make the other dog uncomfortable, right? And so to not do that. Good. Good boy, yes. Right? right, so now why don't we go ahead and switch out for Enzo, and we're going to be watching for pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to watch the uncertainty and him being afraid, turning into some sort of a request for space, and that request for space needs to be acknowledged by us and helped to create, or else they're going to create it. There you go.
Okay.
Good boy. There you go. Down, big guy. Down. Good boy. Good down. So there, when he kind of gets stuck, go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure to help him out, and then as soon as he starts moving again, release the pressure. Now this is going to be important that you hold fast, because if you give up before he does, then he learns that if he doesn't want to move, he just doesn't have to, and you're going to give up and like carry him and stuff. So this is where that perseverance, there you go, comes into play. Perfect. There you go. Perfect. There you go. You're okay, big guy. While learning what we learned, we want to try to just avoid them kind of posturing, right? Letting them stay nice and casual, in and out. Good job. Good boy. Right? So you hear that growl. I create that space because they're doing a bad job of creating that space themselves, and that releases that tension, right? Yeah, so I'll just walk with you.
Come on.
And that way they can learn to be around one another and be comfortable. Good boy. Yes. Because sometimes with some pups and they're just verbalizations, it'll be enough to like make another dog that's already unsure, scared, right? Because he's not aggressive, but he's making those sounds, and you can tell he wants to meet him because he's crying, right? But it's just that, yeah, right? It's just that is enough to kind of startle them into that defensive situation, in which case that escalation happens. Right? So it's about getting them just comfortable with one another again, so that way they don't feel the need to overreact. So you can tell that Mr. Enzo here is kind of sure, kind of unsure, right? Good boy. Yes, very good, perfect. Good.
Nice.
Okay.
I hear you. Come on.
It's okay. Come on. Because some of it is like, sometimes that leash aggression when they want to engage but then they can't, and so because you're holding them back, it gets them either more frustrated or they can't eliminate that uncertainty of the other dog because they can't actually engage to smell them and things like that. Good boy, good job. There you go. Very good. Right. So now we're giving them kind of the opportunity to get used to being around one another without that pressure of like a hard encounter, right? We're just doing it in little bits at a time, kind of drawing out that interaction, right? Giving them the breaks that they need. Good job. Good job, Enzo. He's like, look, Mom. Oh, good boy. Go ahead, back this way. So really breaking down a situation and analyzing it can make it so that way you can help to prevent future conflicts by figuring out what actually happened to cause the conflict in the first place.
Well, that one time when you gave me that free advice about walking in front of Enzo, that really does help.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now he's kind of be a little bit interested in trying to catch up to smell him, right? He's not as afraid when he's not kind of going towards him, right? Because that face-to-face is really hard for a lot of dogs that are uncomfortable. That's why usually trainers will want their dogs to kind of meet rear end to rear end first. Because there's just something about, that hard eye contact that could, really trigger a defensive situation in a dog, right? So you can now see why Enzo was a little bit more reactive earlier. It's just because he was unsure.
Right.
He was unsure. It was too close of a space, right? Too quickly. Got a good art project coming up?
Well, she works at the bakery with me, and she rents one of my rooms.
Oh, okay.
So she's doing all this.
Gotcha. All right. There you go. And you can kind of see without the leash and like being forced into a closer vicinity of one another, now they can kind of freely move kind of like at the dog park back and forth to when, they're comfortable or they're uncomfortable, right? And you see he keeps checking in on you, which means he's still
He
unsure.
always does.
So that's where you just want to give him that good like positive reinforcement. He's smelling him. Go ahead and tell him it's okay. Good boy.
It's okay. It's okay.
There you go.
There you go. It's okay.
Right? Scared little pup.
All right.
Right? Yes, good boy. So because he was attacked when he was younger, he's also a little bit of like that unsure and apprehensive side,
Right.
but at the same time, he's very friendly and curious, right? So when he unintentionally kind of gets too close to somebody else that's unsure, now they're both unsure, and you start to see like that downward spiral because they're both kind of lacking that confidence and that easiness of one, being able to just hang out and play. Good boy, right? So he's not allowed to posture because that makes him uncomfortable, in which case he would react too. So the timing of everything, just like with guarding of the resources, as soon as you see something happen, you disrupt it and then let them try again. So that way they learn that that's the boundary. Like, oh, I can smell and everything, but as soon as I put my head up on the dog, or as soon as we both move in towards the treat, anything that you want to correct, you're gonna need to work on timing wise. Like this part is fine, right? You're just gonna smell, maybe mark on top, right?
Plenty of markings on top of markings here.
Right? Good boy. Perfect. So that time I didn't have to press it.
Oh, okay.
It's hard for us to tell because it's ultrasonic, but most devices like this, you'll feel a vibration or you'll hear like a little beep or something. So that's how, like you said, you start by understanding a situation, and then you go in and you control the situation, and then once you have those expectations set in place, you just reward them now for doing the right thing. He's still crying because he wants to engage, but these guys just aren't ready for it. You can kind of tell they're still a little bit more reserved, right, and unsure. So he's not allowed to, because he could accidentally cause an escalation. Do you have any questions on anything before I pack up?
I mean, just in this little shorter period of time, but I would like to do as many as you think that I need, and I think, I'm going to need another one.
What? Huh? What?
So do they understand the crying? The noises that dogs make to each other.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They have to kind of get to know the other dog and their mannerisms.
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, like how sometimes at the dog park, a lot of parents will get scared because it's okay, it happens all the time. I'll spray it down. But they get scared because another dog is maybe very playful, but they're very like verbal.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing because every dog is going to be different. Most signs of communication are going to be the same, but sometimes they might be mixed. Like this one is mixed now too because he wants to play and he wants to engage, and that's why he's crying. But then once he kind of gets into that awkward situation, he gets uncomfortable at the last minute, making the entire situation uncomfortable. Okay? Good boy.